Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today, Masechtas Gittin, Daf Hey. We're going to begin on the bottom of Dalet Amud Beis, 4 lines from the bottom. Tanan, Hamevi get mi Medinas Hayam. So you have a person that brings a get from another country. He's not able to say it. The Gemara is going to explain why can't he say it. Just say it. So if there are witnesses, so they can come and they'll recognize the signatures, and therefore the get will be kosher. Now, we asked the question, what does that mean? You can't say it. Just say it. So as we continue to Hamad Aleph, maybe we're talking about a cheresh, because when it comes to a cheresh, is a deaf mute. That's what we talk about. So if that's the case, cheresh bar sui gitahu, a cheresh is not allowed to give a get to begin with. It's not just an issue of him speaking; he's not allowed to be a shliach to give a get. But not a kokshen will have a get chutz mecheresh advokata. It says beferish they're not allowed to, as Rashi says, the la b'nei deyaninhu. They don't have the das to be able to give a get. So if this person wasn't a cheresh, you could not have appointed him to be your shliach. The truth is, he at one point was able to hear, and therefore when he was appointed as a shliach, he was this pikeach. However, unfortunately, he became a cherish en route, and because of that, he no longer was able to say. But nonetheless, at the time, he was a bardea, and therefore he was able to bring the get. So in this situation, because it cannot be said, all you need to do is make sure that the witnesses are there to be able to verify the signatures, which sounds a lot like Rabbi. Now, both of them, we already established in yesterday's daf, and even Rabbi, who says you need l'shma, he requires also the notion of kim shtaros, because you need to have edim etzuyin. You have to have a witness that can easily come by with caravans. However, he has the additional requirement of l'shma. We don't see there's any requirement of l'shma over here, so it's a question on him. Says Rashi, "Dekatani iskai b'chalismav I v'halo in bekin l'shma." It's coming from Medina Siyam, so they're not bekim. Now, hagmai skinan l'achar shalamdu. Says Rashi, deboy l'shma. They actually did learn the laws of l'shma, so it's possible that they knew. So therefore, l'shma wasn't an issue in that generation. So yehachi yachol nami. So people who could speak, like a pikeach, also, says Rashi, why do we require them to say it at all? Doesn't make any sense. If there's no if we know already everyone's a bakim l'shma, so why do you have to say it? It says you're right, technically not, because there's Shem Yasid Kuloi. What happens if things go back to the way they were and the people stop being knowledgeable l'shma? So therefore, because of that, and then we're not going to say b'fan nechtam when it's necessary to be done. So therefore, we just say, you know what, we'll make the shliach, even though he's a baki in l'shma, we should make him say it anyway. So if that's the case, if someone's an inu yochel, so why don't we say the same thing? Because when it comes to an inu yochel, so why do we say the fact that he didn't say b'fan nechtam, it's good enough if there's no, if all you do is iskai b'chaismav? What do you mean? How about in a time of when people don't know about l'shma, so it's still a problem. So pikech v'nischarish milslo shchicha goes rabbanon. So this is the situation of something which is not common. And whenever we have a situation which is not common, the chachamim don't make a gzeira. And therefore, the reality is, right now they're experts in l'shma, so you don't need to have said it anyway. The whole notion of a woman, where she herself brings a get b'taras shlichus, and for example, the man says, "You're not going to be divorced from me until you bring this get to Beis Din Ploini." Tanan, a woman does have to say. The question is, why does she have to say it? The woman herself bringing her own get to a Beis Din is a mislo shlicha. Her answer is shotachlik b'shlichus. We don't want to make any distinction when it comes to shlichus. Says Rashi Shini, who is the answer? Well, The fact is, whether it's a regular shliach or the woman is a shliach, we don't want to make any distinctions, so we require her to stay b'fan and nechtam. However, says Rashi, this person really technically is supposed to do it, but he's just physically incapable of it. Okay. So maybe we should say the same thing when it comes to the husband. When the husband brings the get, we don't require him to do so. But why? Maybe we should say we shouldn't be mechal b'shlichus l'shlichus. Where it says 1 second. We're talking about the husband here. We're talking about the husband. What's the whole reason why you have to say it? What's the problem? What's the concern? What's the worry? Because maybe the husband's going to come and passel get. He's holding in his hands. He's not going to come to complain. So there's no reason to worry about it. So when it comes to the Baal, he doesn't have to say. Tashma. So you ask the question. Do you have two people, instead of one shliach, two people together bring the get from Medina Siyam? They have to say, in front of us it was written, in front of us it was signed. Oh, in srichen. So, or maybe they don't. So, Omerle in srichen, they don't. It's not necessary. If a person, if they would have said, in front of us, we actually saw her get divorced, because there's two people. So two people have a strong level of ne'emanos. So the Rabbi nicha, according to Rav, it's good. However, the Rabbi kasha says Rashi D'Omer ki maisi beitrei srichen leimer, because we said one of the nafgaminas was if two people come, he still says you have to say b'fan and nechtam, because it's still an issue of shema. But over here, with these two guys, these two witnesses, you don't have to say it. What do you mean? It's a kashan rabba. So again, we're talking about a situation with no issue of shema because everyone knows about it. So maybe also if there's one person, why do we require him to say? Because what if it goes back that people forget the laws? So why don't we say the same thing when it comes to these two people that maybe they'll live in a generation where they won't know the laws? So betray the Mayisugita milslo shlichul goes barabon. Because again, when we're talking about two people that bring a get, it's usually one shliach. Two people doing the same thing, that's a milslo shlichul. It's another situation we're not gozer. Question 11. Be'elu ofanim. This is also TB3. Ein sarach loimer fanechtam alibed rabel achar shalomdu dimishum do shlicha. Lo gozer b'rabbanan. So one is, we just said if there's two witnesses, or two shulchim, or the case of a person who was a pikeach and then he became a cheresh. Okay. Weiter. Tashma. Fine. Now, b'ha'isha do shlicha tanan. So we go through the same thing. But a woman, we learn, why do we require her to do it? So we don't want to make a distinction. So if the husband is the shliach, just like if the woman is the shliach to bring it to a beis din, she still has to say. So why do we say who he should have to? So our answer is the same thing we said before. Why do we have to say this? Because we're concerned the husband's going to come and say it's forged, it's valid, it's invalid. So he's holding his hand about he's not going to complain. Tashma. So a person brings a get from a foreign country, and he gives it to her. Velo Amar, and he does not say, and some people are not garis the word law. So again, he gave her the get, but he didn't say the words So im niskayim b'chaismav kasher v'im apostle, as we said before. All you need to do is verify the signatures, which again sounds a lot like Rabbi. So havi lo hutzruch loimer el hakel. Because the whole reason why we say this is only to be lenient for her. Says Rashi, so we just don't need to produce any more witnesses once you say that. So it's only a kula. But again, if for whatever reason he didn't say it, then he left, so we're going to say the get's still valid. Now, Rava Nichel Rava Kasha. Again, we're going to have a Kasha and Rava. So, Hakamai Skin and Lachashalavdu. Same answer as we said 2 times previously. There's no issue of Lishma because we'll have a generation of people know about it. Aren't we concerned that maybe things will go back to the way it was? Kishinises. We're talking about a case where she already got married. In other words, this a b'diavad situation. Says Rashi, V'im hu nises lo shavkin lo linsuve v'afagav neikayim hainu chomer. So ihachi havi l'chutzu chalom b'fanatan l'hachma l'vel l'hakeleha mishum denisesu. The reason is not about because we're trying to be lenient. It's because it's a b'diavad situation that she got married. So why are we saying it's this reason? Oh, because we don't say it to be strict, but to be lenient. Just say the reason is because she got married. Be more clear. It must be it's not because she got married. So maybe we should be strict. Velafka and have her go out. We're not going to be, again, strict on her. We're going to be lenient with her. In other words, we're not going to force her as we continue to him and Bays to get married. Because the whole problem is the husband may come and cause problems. The husband's not complaining right now. So we're going to complain on his behalf? No. Seemingly, he's not coming and he's not going to say anything. So let them remain married, says Rashi. The time of my Rabbanan de Boila Maymar, why the Rabbanan say you have to say Bafan and Nachtab? Dilma Asibalam Ar, because maybe he will eventually come and complain. Hilkach, therefore. Imo ni says if she's not getting married, she's not married yet, Latinasi, he'll get married. Abahasha Denisis, now she's married, Amai Lafko, why should we leave this relationship? The Katilosa Balam Ar, he hasn't come yet. Not Nakam Ar, we're going to come and complain on his behalf? No. Okay. A3. Tiny Royce, maybe this name on us the level. I remember finding Nachtam. This kind of a kosher. Leave it a Rabbah of my kosher. And then he says in parentheses, "V'afli achar shalom do," because that's what I would have said as the answer. So the answer is it. The answer Pashut is Iri Kishinise. So we're talking about where she already got married. Okay, weiter. Bepukta de Rav Yochanan and Rav Yeshua ben Levi. So now we establish this machlokus, just like there's a machlokus Rabbi and Rava. We're also having a Moroyim that precede them that have a similar machlokus. What is this? To Stayim, I'm going to establish Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, who he's the one that says that the whole issue is lishma. Why? Rav Shimon ben Abba Rabbi Shimon Levi, because Rav Shimon ben Abba brought a get in front of Rabbi Shimon Levi. Although, do I need to say you don't need to? The only time it was needed was the previous generations. She'ein bekin l'shma. He says it beferish, because the whole issue is l'shma. To stayim. So it's clear that it must be Rabbi Shimon Levi is the one, just like Rabbi, who says the whole point is of l'shma. So it's logical. V'ha Rabba islay de Rava. But we already said also there's also an issue of Edom and Sun L'Kaimo according to everyone. Maybe they eventually will lose their knowledge of Lishma. So the question is, so that's question number one. So what do you mean? The whole issue is not just Lishma. Even Rabba holds this issue of what Rabba holds about the Edom. The Ode Hamrin and Shem Yased of Kukuloi. Again, maybe he will eventually lose his knowledge of Lishma. El Rav Shimon ben Abba inishachrina havi bahadei. Truth is, he just had another person with him. We don't mention this person because of the honor of Rabbi Shimon. Says Rashi, so the truth is, there was really a second person there. We just don't mention his name because, in comparison to this great rabbi, we don't mention his name. But the point is that there really was a second person. Okay, and in a situation where they know. We're not concerned because the milsul shchicha, so therefore it's not an issue of lishma. And there's two witnesses, so it's not an issue of Edom and Sun Kaimai. Itmar bifnei kama nice nala how many people should this shliach give this get to? So Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Chanin, we had this before. So it's a machlokas if it should be in front of 2 or 3 people. The Stein Rabbi Yochanan who the Rabbi Shnayim should be in front of 2. Why? The Rabbin bar Rav Chisda said Gittin committed Rabbi Yochanan. He presented and brought again in front of Rabbi Yochanan Yermala Zil Havla Ba'api Trey. He said Beferish go in front of 2. The Emel who befane nachtam to Stein. So you see clearly the number is based in this story. Let's say this is actually goof for the machlokas. You only need 2 people. Why 3? So maybe it's based on this the same thing that we were just establishing before. Again, Rabbi Yishua ben Levi must be the Rabbi Yochanan If the whole issue is Edim, so why would he say in front of 2? Again, even if you hold of Lishma, there's also the issue of Edim. Everyone, just like Rabbi agrees to Rabbi, you need Edim Asum Kaimai. The aid nasa dayan kamifaki. Whether or not you can have 2 or 3 people is can the shliach become a witness and the witness become a judge. Mar savar b'nei why 2? K'savar shliach nasa aid ve'aid nasa dayan. So therefore, that he can combine together with these 2 other people to equal 3. For kiyum shtaros, in which you'll need 3 people. Okay, shliach can become a witness. However, ein aid nasa dayan. An aid cannot be a dayan. Therefore, you need 3 separate people there in order to be able to form as a beis din. Don't we hold b'derabanan the aid nasa dayan? I thought we hold that when it comes to derabanan, namely dinim which are rabbinical, as it's brought down in Masechtas Ksuvos regarding kiyum shtaros, that is something which is a din derabanan. Says Rashi, Mishaninan Hanimil be'edus achaydish deraisa Rabban edat nasadayin. When it comes to dini deraisa like edus achaydish, we say that an aid cannot be a dayan. However, when it comes to din derabanan, we're lenient, and a witness can be a judge. So over here, this is a din derabanan. So then, what's the problem? Certainly, we should say a nasadayin. The problem is, we know that a woman herself can bring the get to the beis din. So zilman demaisile isasa, maybe she'll bring it, but samchila, and we're going to rely on her. V'idach isha medi yadai v'loy samchi Allah, says Rashi. Machsharas b'shnayim. If we just always accept 2 because eid nasadayin, so this 3rd person who's a shliach becomes an aid nasadayan, so therefore it forms 3. What if the shliach is a woman? Zimdin ma'isila isha, the samchin lachshuri nami mishnayim. We're going to start allowing 2 in this situation, 2 men to be there. The isha loichazil it's terufi b'hadayil atlasa, but she's not able to combine. Fine. So on this, we said the idach. What does the other one say? No, isha midi yadev loy samchala. It is well known that a woman cannot serve as a judge, and they will make sure for her to testify before 3 judges. So that's the question. Are we concerned that maybe a person is going to make this mistake? Okay, question 12. Ketzad sagam desinas get v'amrina b'fanatan b'fnei shnayim. I b'hari kiyum shtaros b'shleisha. So because we say ein nasadayin. Avamai lo sagi b'hatayim d'man nasim b'fnei shleisha. So he says like this: the problem that he's mistarif. However, why do you require 3? Because sometimes a woman will bring it, and they'll be saimich on the other 2, not realizing that you really need 3 valid people to give. But if you give the get to her, you say nothing. Rameir is extremely strict. And he says that if you didn't do exactly the way the Chachamim told you to do it, the child is a mamzer, it's not a good get. If she has children with another man, that's considered like Eisha Sish, she's married. The Chachamim Omrim ain't a lot of mamzer, no. So Ketzad Yasa, so what's the Eitzah? So Yetlena Himena, take the get back from her. V'yaksavit nenela if they shnayim. Give it again in front of two people. So that's what you're supposed to do. Rameir, why are you so strict? What's the problem, right? Why would that be a reason? If it was really a good get, we can assume maybe it was l'shma. After we say rov or bekin. So in Rameir l'taimei, Yomi Rab Hamdan Mishmedu Ula, Amar Hayi Rameir says the Kol Mishan Mamadmei Shetabach Chacham beginning Yetziv Vlad Mamzer. If you deviate from the literally the coin that's being minted, but any of the laws of Gittin, then the din is that it's not a good get. Bar Hedya boy liasui gita. So Bar Hedya wanted to be a shliach for a get. Also coming to Rab Acha Dahavi Mamuna Agiti. So you had Rab Achai who was the Mamuna, says Rashi, the Kaimel and Kol Shen Yodeh B'Tiv Gittin Kedushin L'Yiba Oisik Imahen. That person, you shouldn't be involved in Gittin Kedushin you don't know. And therefore they chose a great person that he basically was involved in Gittin Kedushin. His name was Rabbi Acha. So Omerleit Sarach Ata Lamoid Al Kol Ois Ois. He said it's necessary for you to physically stand over every single letter and word that the sofer is writing in order that it should be considered to be valid that you wrote it, that you saw it l'shma. So you have to actually watch the whole thing. So also committed Rabami, Rabasi, Yamel, you don't need to do that. So Abdul Chomra, go strict. Nimsa ata moitzilaz al Gittin harishainim. You're going to be moitzilaz on the original Gittin, right? So in other words, if in fact you are going to say, oh no, require it, so all the people that didn't require it before are going to say, oh, it must be the get was puzzle, because I remember that you have to actually watch every single letter, every word. So all the times that it was not done that way would make it puzzle. We know the answer is no, but the problem is you could be moitzi laz. Rabba, so therefore sometimes being strict can cause problems. Rabba bar bar Chana Aisi Gita Palga Ichtav Kamei, Palga Ichtav Kamei. Half of it was written in front of him, half it wasn't. Asking to Rabbi Lazar, Amalei, Afilu Kostav Boy, El Shita Achas Lishma Shuan Utzarech. Even only one line was written Lishma, that is enough. In other words, that you had to at least observe that one letter was written. Says Rashi, Perish Shalol Ra. That as long as you saw the first line, so you could assume the rest of it was probably also written Lishma as well. Which myself, who was very involved many years in the Beis Din with Rabbi Learfield in Miami, so I used to was one of the Adim for Gittin for many years. And whenever let's say I'd want to use the bathroom or something, and a get was being written, well, you had to at least have the sofer write the first line. And after the sofer wrote the first line, he would make some type of a siman. He made like a hole in the dot in the paper above a particular letter, so that when I came out and I would come back, I would be able to know it was the same get. And therefore that would be enough, even though I wasn't physically even there the entire time that was written. And this is the notion of what Tais is saying, at least the first line. So again, Shumen Usarch. Rav Ashi, as we continue to Vavam Aleph, is even more makel. I feel kan kumusa v'kan megilta. Even if you don't actually physically see the letters being written, which again, a sofer is writing like this, doesn't mean the aide has to be physically hovering over him. So he's in the basic vicinity, and he's just hearing the scratches of the quill or the parchment. That would be enough. Tani give us the Ravashi. Maybe give me this yom. A few who bebias for sefer baaliyah, who believe a sefer bebias, even if you're in different rooms. A few nichnas v'yetzikol yom kul, even if you're going back and forth, you're not in there the whole time kosher. So who bebias the sefer baaliyah? So you're in different rooms. Halo kachazile, you didn't see them. Elav. What does that mean? How's that shot that works? Elav, you're going to shamakan kumusa v'kan megilta, because at least you heard the sounds of the get being written. According to him, that's enough. Omar Mar, feel nechlas yetzikol yom kulo kosher. So man, what does that mean? Even if he leaves, who's leaving? Ilim a shliach. So hashtahu b'bayis v'sever b'liyah. If you're in different rooms, you don't even see the guy. Amrit kosher. He said it's good enough, and it's okay for you to be able to give this get. So nithnas yotzim boy. If you at least were in the room but you stepped out, certainly it's not an issue. So for the shliach to leave once in a while, that certainly doesn't seem to be a problem. So what's the whole chiddush? El cipher. Talking about even the shliach, the cipher rather, the scribe comes in and out. Nonetheless, it'll still be good. So pshita, why not? Just because he went in and out, why would that passel it? The guy knows he's writing it l'shma, because he went out to the marketplace. And then he came back. Maybe some other person came. The Rashi says shishmoi kishmoi shulzeh, and he said, can you write me a get? And it turns out that he was already in the middle of writing this get. He said, what? Let me give him this get. So therefore, it wasn't written l'shma for that purpose. So the Kamash One, we don't have that concern. Adkan.